Steven Gonzalez, our first ever guest. Thank you, Gonzo. Appreciate that, man. And let's go right into his preview, right? His St. Louis Battlehawks traveling to San Antonio, as he told you. They're the short favorite, and this over-under, just like the rest of them, mid-30s. Early rumors saying The Rock will come back to the Alamo Dome to cut a promo at halftime. He's done all kind of WWF and E events in San Antonio, so this will be interesting. Will DJ put his Brahmas over the same way Roger Goodell puts over Pat Mahomes and those meddling Chiefs? It's interesting to see here because he owns all 8 teams, so he's not supposed to have a favorite, but he might. From a number standpoint, I think strictly because Audi Field can only hold 20,000 and they can't break fire code there. I think this will be the highest attended game of the weekend. We saw 30K here back in the AAF days with the San Antonio Commanders. So a matchup of 2 first-time head coaches leading off our Sunday. You just saw Hines Ward and his familiar black and yellow. That guy needs no introduction. But we will say the Brahmas by default have to have the best touchdown dances in the league. I mean, you had Hines Ward winning Dancing with the Stars. And I do think the staff is still a season or 2 away from becoming an XFL contender, but can never count Hines Ward out. Anthony Beck, the fearless leader of the Battlehawks, who Steven Gonzalez told you about on the other side. He's the leader of that Kickoff club in St. Louis. Going to be great to see how he interacts with the fans. I'm sure St. Louis will have some fans in San Antonio with the way that Steven explained to us. They're kind of cult-like diehards. They're going to travel. Trust me, they're going to be in the Alamo Dome strong. He spoke very highly of Anthony Beck, his coach. Anthony's son Rocco, actually a quarterback at Iowa State, for those of you who follow along with the Cyclones. This is a very new-look St. Louis. Half of the 2.0 coaches and players dipped and went to Arlington, as we already discussed. So they did put together a pretty solid draft nonetheless. Looking at the San Antonio offense against the St. Louis defense, Jamie Elizondo is a familiar name for XFL diehards. He'll call the plays for San Antonio. He had a stint in the CFL. He was also with the Tampa Bay Vipers, the now defunct Tampa Bay Vipers. He brings back his tailback from Tampa, Jaquez Patrick. And the Brahmas are going to run early and often with Patrick and Kalen Ballage, the former Sun Devil. Obviously, all these guys, they have John Hilliman as well. They all racked it up in college. On socials this week, they announced Jack Cohn as QB1. Moan for Cohn starts now. And disclaimer, I didn't come up with that. Thank you, XFL Reddit, for showing me Moan for Cohn. Get that on a towel in San Antonio. That's incredible. Cohn is used to turning around and handing it off to Jonathan Taylor, so I think this run system is going to work. Jalen Tolliver, the wide receiver, also followed Elizondo to San Antonio. He's been kind of trailing him the last few years, and I think he'll become the wide receiver 1 for the Brahmas. On the other side, Donnie Abraham heading the Battlehawks defense. He's paid his dues and really cut his teeth in the coaching profession. He once said he never wanted to coach, but about 10 years ago, he was a head coach at Clearwater High School, the Tornadoes, and they had an 0-10 season. So Donnie Abraham has faced all the adversity you can as a coach, really paid his dues, like I said, and he's got some bright spots on the defense. The defensive end, LaCale London, he actually spent time with Chicago Bears. Linebacker Silas Kelly is a name that you college football freaks will know. All-time mullet for him, Silas Kelly, Google him. And at corner for St. Louis, Lavert Hill is a name that, oh boy, I happily recall Lavert Hill from Michigan. Lavert Hill actually flipped off 107,000 of my friends and I in Beaver Stadium back in 2017 after Saquon Barkley and Trace McSorley ran him off the field. I think we need to get Lavert Hill on the show here, Zook. That would be a great guest. I would love to talk to Lavert, but the edge here is his St. Louis defense. Elizondo wasn't really great for me in 2020. With Tampa, I think they went 1-4, and in the CFL, only a couple wins as well. So Jack Cohn kind of is what he is. I know you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks. He was impressive at Notre Dame, but really watching the bulk of his film at Wisconsin, he just kind of is what he is. I was surprised Reed Sinnett didn't win this job, but I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I promise you, I will moan for Cohn. The St. Louis offense against the San Antonio defense. A.J. McCarron back at it after tearing his ACL prior to the start of the 2021 NFL season. Let me tell you, if we get both Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Catherine McCarron in the same building on Sunday, this will be the highest rated game of the weekend. No question about it. What a get for the XFL with AJ. 2-time back-to-back national champion as a starter in T-Town. Dave Bowler found some real player 54s on this roster. You hear DJ always talking about player 54. Well, quite a few fringe NFL guys for offensive coordinator Bruce Gradkowski. I think Bruce, obviously he used to slinging around the glass bowl at Toledo. I think him and AJ McCarron at one point, maybe different years, both backed up Andy Dalton. Correct me if I'm wrong. Marcel Aitman was the former Oklahoma State receiver who was the first selection in the Battlehawks draft. He's likely an all-XFL guy on paper. 6'4", just incredible talent. And running back Brian Hill, he won people some money in their fantasy leagues as a waiver wire pickup back in, 2018. He's had some great late season success in Atlanta. And I think the Battlehawks, for my money, have the best tight end room in the league. And that makes sense because their coach, Anthony Becht, was a first-round draft pick at tight end. So he's going to have a strong position group. I think it's kind of cool, right, to see all these XFL coaches that played and see where they played and their position groups that are going to be strong. You see that all across the board in football, but it's going to be cool to see in the XFL. Watch out for Austin Prohl. Playing for his dad, Ricky, now. Many of you remember Ricky Prohl. Played in The Greatest Show on Turf with Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. Won a Super Bowl with the St. Louis Rams. He's back. He'll be a fan favorite. And his son, remember, fun fact, scored the first ever touchdown in XFL 2.0 for the Dragons. The Brahmas defense, unfortunately, doesn't list Dwayne Johnson on the depth chart, but I think at some point the Rock may need to suit up. Former Michigan defensive coordinator Jim Herman with a solid front seven here. You have linebackers like Ben Davis and a captain, Joel DeBlanco. They were both standouts in college and played for some great programs. I think DeBlanco was at Cincinnati on their college football playoff run, and then Ben Davis played at Alabama, I believe. In the secondary, Sean Williams Jr., he's a natural leader out of Navy. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is going to be, I think, the closest game of the weekend. I do give St. Louis a slight edge here. McCarron, to me, is the most valuable player on the field to start the season. Think about the experience that A.J. McCarron has. It's unparalleled when you think about what he did in college. He was a part of 3 national championship squads under Nick Saban, and he was always just right there on the cusp of being an NFL starter and had injuries. So it'll be cool to see A.J. out there, and I'm rolling Battlehawks. Kickoff is the law. Zook, what do you got?
I also got the Battlehawks. I think they're better on both sides of the field. So I'm just rolling with them.
Great analysis from Zook, who seems to tail all my picks.
I'm not tailing you, and I guarantee you my next one isn't the same.
Spoiler alert. Do we have another clean sweep here on the Boulevard? I fear what that will do to us.
I know.
I really do. This I did not expect to happen.
You and me both.
I have to have a talk with Mikey. I did not expect this to happen. Again, I never saw Mikey's picks. Zook is our producer. He puts them in late, so I'm seeing these for the first time. I'm shocked. I've never agreed with Mikey Manziel on anything, so this will be interesting.